In the shadow of Mount Sinai, the air was thick with anticipation. The mountain, shrouded in a dense cloud, loomed like a silent sentinel over the vast expanse of the desert. Below, the Israelites waited, their hearts pounding with a mixture of fear and awe. This was no ordinary day. It was the day that would change the course of their history forever. The mountain was not just a geographical feature. It was the stage for a divine encounter that would shape the destiny of an entire people. The story of the Israelites at Mount Sinai is a tale of transformation, a moment when a wandering tribe became a nation bound by a covenant with God. It is a story that has been retold and reinterpreted for generations, but at its core lies a profound and timeless message: the power of a promise and the responsibility that comes with it. When God spoke to Moses from the burning bush, he set in motion a series of events that would lead the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt and into the wilderness. The journey was long and arduous, filled with moments of doubt and rebellion. But it was at Mount Sinai that the Israelites found their purpose. God descended upon the mountain, and the people trembled in fear. The thunder roared, the lightning flashed, and the mountain itself seemed to shake. It was a display of divine power that left no room for doubt about the nature of the being with whom they were about to enter into a covenant. The covenant itself was a two-way agreement. God promised to protect and guide the Israelites, to make them a holy nation and a kingdom of priests. In return, the Israelites were to obey God's commandments and laws. This was not just a set of rules. It was a way of life. The 10 Commandments, the cornerstone of the covenant, laid out the fundamental principles of right and wrong, of how to treat one another and how to live in harmony with God. The laws that followed, known as the Book of the Covenant, provided a more detailed framework for justice and community life. The ritual of the covenant was a powerful and symbolic act. Moses built an altar and offered sacrifices, and then he read the terms of the covenant to the people. The people responded with a unified voice, declaring their commitment to the agreement. Moses then took the blood of the sacrifices and sprinkled it on the people, a physical sign of the covenant's binding nature. Blood, a symbol of life, was a potent reminder of the seriousness of the commitment. It was a moment of deep solemnity, a moment when the Israelites acknowledged their dependence on God and their responsibility to one another. The covenant at Mount Sinai was not just a one-time event. It was the foundation of a relationship that would continue to shape the lives of the Israelites for generations to come. It was a relationship marked by both divine grace and human frailty. The Israelites would often falter and fail, but the covenant remained as a constant reminder of God's faithfulness and their calling. One of the most striking aspects of the covenant is the inclusivity it represents. The covenant was not just for a select few. It was for the entire community. The 12 pillars that Moses set up symbolized the 12 tribes of Israel, each with a unique role in the covenant. The participation of the elders and the common people in the ritual emphasized that the covenant was a collective responsibility. This inclusivity is a powerful message for us today, reminding us that the commitments we make to one another and to our higher ideals are not individual endeavors but shared responsibilities. The covenant also introduced a new way of thinking about justice and morality. The laws of the covenant were not arbitrary rules. They were grounded in the character of God. They reflected God's love for justice, compassion, and mercy. The commandments against murder, theft, and adultery were not just prohibitions. They were expressions of the value of human life and the importance of trust and integrity. The laws about the treatment of strangers, the poor, and the marginalized were a call to empathy and social responsibility. The covenant was a blueprint for a just and compassionate society. A society where the strong were called to protect the weak and the powerful were held accountable. The covenant at Mount Sinai was also a call to holiness. The Israelites were to be a holy people, set apart for a higher purpose. This holiness was not about being perfect or sinless. It was about being dedicated to God's purpose and living in a way that reflected His character. The laws of the covenant were not burden, some restrictions, but liberating guidelines that helped the Israelites live in a way that honored God and brought blessing to others. The covenant was a path to a fuller, more meaningful life. A life that was not defined by self-interest, but by a commitment to something greater. The covenant at Mount Sinai was a turning point in the history of the Israelites, but it was also a turning point in the history of the world. The principles of the covenant justice, compassion, and holiness have influenced countless cultures and societies. They have shaped the way we think about morality, justice, and the common good. The covenant is a reminder that the choices we make and the commitments we keep have a profound impact on the world around us. In the end, the covenant at Mount Sinai is a story of hope. It is a story of a people who, despite their shortcomings, were given a chance to become something greater. It is a story of a God who, despite the flaws of His people, remained faithful to His promises. It is a story that continues to inspire and challenge us today, reminding us that the most meaningful commitments are those that are made together, in the presence of the divine. In the shadow of Mount Sinai, the Israelites found their purpose. In the shadow of Mount Sinai, we can find ours.